Well, I will have to say, that will definitely make your clutch not work. Sounds sick. Good morning, you guys. We're gonna go grab some breakfast, get the car warmed up. We're gonna continue today, see if we can get this thing running, get to driving it down the road. So we drove our black Still and Z down here because, you know, it's time to part it out. I took the battery out of it, placed it in here, so I'm probably still gonna need the jump pack because it was dead. There's a drain in that car. So we're about to start this, try to bleed off some of this water, coolant, whatever. Oh, I've got to put the boost controller on, so that's actually the last step. I'm probably going to try to do that here in the next hour. So I'm trying to drive this to my sister's birthday, so we'll see. She's all bled out. Yeah, she's super loud, but about to drop the hood, get it where we can stake it, move it out of here. Got some throttle cable adjustment to do. I think it just got stuck up there at $3 grand, but sounds cool nonetheless. So I think we're gonna check our catch can here, see if we've got anything going on just from that little bit of idle time. I mean, it's not much, but you can see it condensating and a little drip in there, so I'm sure that that'll definitely add up pretty quickly and over time. That wasn't too long, but nonetheless, there's that much oil or that much water staying out of my oil. Good morning. It's the next day. Sorry we didn't get too much done or accomplished yesterday. It was my little sister's birthday party, so we kind of got done what we could, at least get the car bled, and now we're on to the next stuff. Here we've got our fuel pressure tester, so we can hook it up and adjust our fuel pressure regulator. We also have this line capped, which is for our boost controller. We're going to wire that up. I believe we have an oil pressure sensor / gauge that we will be wiring up as well. I've already got that sorted, the sensor down there at the sandwich plate, so that'll be fairly easy, just plug and play. I think instead of usually I run my boost controller through this hole on the NA side. We're not doing that this time. We're going to run it through the AC port. Be easier and won't have to worry about the ability to pull it out afterwards because it is a pretty tight fit. Sounds sick. Pinch our supply here. Launch. Fuel pressure raised to 43.5 or so, about 43 I believe. Solid, and fuel pressure set. Alright, I've got 2 bolts in here. We're going to hook up the boost controller, which we have our solenoid here in the middle. Each of the hoses go to it. They both tee, each wastegate tees into each other off the turbo, and also the same nipple on the charge pipe, which is your accordion pipe, you can use for reference for this. That will be your other supply. Tee them together per side for one feed. You'll look at your installation instructions to find out which side goes to what, and now we snake the rest of our harness through. Attach. Now you can find somewhere to mount this. I've personally not mounted it, however, I don't know, I just see these couple holes. I may mount it over here with a self-tapping screw. But for the time being, I'm not too worried about it. I've never mounted it. Just let it hang out. Connector. And since we're running it through this part, where the air conditioner was. We'll just put it through the top side and feed it in there. Pull back your carpet, pull your board out, and somewhere, oh, here it is. Now what we're going to do with this is pretty much we're going to just run it up under this panel. We'll remove it. We're going to snake this connector up through this panel, have it in the middle. We will put this in the same spot. However, we'll find a ground to attach this to, and we will find a 12-volt source for our trigger wire. You can run your vacuum source depending wherever your fuel pressure regulator's at. I'll probably run my vacuum source straight back here, and we'll tee it up, go under the carpet, you know, up under that same interior panel, and meet in the middle to tie it all together. Key turn, power on. So we're actually not running our power source from the radio this time. I looked up, and here we are spliced into the blue wire of our ignition, which is the signal wire. The can't remember what the constant signal is. That may be the red and white, but the black and yellow is the starter signal. So far we're all hooked up good on the boost controller wise. Everything's working good, reads right when we start the car. So now we're going to move on to the oil pressure, and we're not getting power. So what I'm going to suspect this is probably has to do with the connection of my second wire tap here. So we're going to check that, make sure it's making connection with the wire. We have tapped them both in here instead of running the same ground to both sensor, because that was kind of the issue I was having beforehand. I would have both grounds to the same ground and it wouldn't work properly. I don't know if maybe just the side of the eyelet, say because I stack them on top of each other, maybe I could have switched them around and made it work. Maybe it was just the orientation and there wasn't a good conductivity or connection going on. But we have since relocated our ground right here to our steering column, so that way we didn't have to use this jumper harness we made to reach from here up to here. We'll just find a way to hide all this wiring. Gotta turn the key. Oil pressure gauge fires right up. And boost controller fires right up. So like I said, next we will worry about our coolant temp sensor. This is the final piece to the puzzle. I just opened the door and the door swung back and crinkled my shin in the door. Hey. Third and final. Sweet, we have full power to all of our gauges. Fill up a 5-gallon thing of ethanol so we know we got gas in this, regardless of what the bad cluster says. And we'll probably just start putting everything back together. I think the only thing we have left on our list is to boost leak test this. So I think that'll be probably what we do when we come back, as long as we got time. I had to go to Walmart to grab a couple things since it's Mother's Day. And by the way, happy Mother's Day to any of you out there that maybe a mother, even though I can't say probably too many of you are female watching this channel. So anyways, if you are, that's super cool. Happy Mother's Day to you if you're a mother. If not, celebrate your mom's, grandma, whatever. We're not going to get to work today. It's Mother's Day. I may as well not work, you know, it just doesn't seem right. Also, everyone's here, so I'm going to go ahead and get this cookout started. Get on. I think we'll be back out here bright and early tomorrow. We're not supposed to have any rain, so we'll catch you then, and we're going to finish this thing up. Good morning. So first things first today, we're pulling the car up. to the light pole where we have power. We're going to do a boost leak test. Boost leak tester's on. Took up our air compressor. So we got the test done. Found a couple leaks. However, I couldn't film it because this compressor leaks in like 4 different areas and I can't ever keep up the air pressure. So it's just constantly running. Hard enough for me to hear it, let alone to try to get somewhere for you guys to hear it. Mostly I do it by feel. Our bottom recirc hose back here and this one right here was leaking. Had a little bit of a leak here, but that was probably just from me putting it on. I did it with a flathead instead of a ratchet. Also found one on the idle air hose, so we rearranged our clamps. Should get a better seal now. About -9 psi, which I believe is actual psi, not like HCG or whatever the other measurement is. I'm not secure. I'm not sure. I think it's like something mercury. I don't know. I've never heard that reference from the US. We go by PSI. So I hear 10 pounds of vacuum is good. Means you don't have leaks. Usually I run a little lower when I'm cold start because the car idles higher. Obviously young, kind of dumb, and like loud cars. As much as I love how loud this car is with open, non-catted, non-resonated test pipes, I think we're going to throw a cat back on. I was going to use this. I think I still will. Obviously just needs a little bit of repair if it's even possible. And we'll see what we can do. I got friends that I'm sure they can work some magic. For the time being, until we can get that finished, I think we're going to throw our HKS on. I don't know if I remember what it sounds like being twin turbo with an HKS. I know I did on my first build and I had some issues and whatnot, but I think we are going to run this. Nearly our whole system done. We just have to tighten our test pipes. Got my little helper over here. Got to tighten the test pipes. I've got everything loosened so that way I could align everything and tighten it up. Torque to spec. See what she sounds like. See how much quieter it is. That is way quieter. I don't know why I didn't think it was going to be that quiet at all. In it for how quiet it is. Let's do a power balance test. Difference. So far the cylinder has no difference. Start with a coil pack. So we just cut a little bit of the wire back. Got the alligator clip on. And now you see when we touch the correct injector circuit wire, maybe we're getting continuity. Yes, we use this again. Don't hate me, don't roast me. It'll be insulated, it'll be separated, they're not gonna touch, whatever. I know it's not ideal, but this is just, like I said, this is all just plug and play until we can get it to where we can pull it in the barn after we get our power fixed. So I don't think I mentioned our cord went out, so now we no longer have power in there. Once we have power, we can pull the car in there, sit down, solder, and do all of it correctly. However, it's not time for that yet. Well, that's kind of annoying. Turns out I've actually got kind of a bad connection here. So that tells us we've got continuity here. Make sure we have it in the connector. We're going to pull it off, maybe. Now we're going to take this and probe that same side connection. And we now have continuity. So let's put it back together. We're going to rewrap this little harness, plug our ECU back in. Also have to tighten our plenum back down because I've got it jacked up a little bit and loosened so that way I can pull this connector off. I don't have it shaved sufficiently. What's up, guys? So I mean, we still have the same miss after we fix this. I think what I'm going to do now is see about pulling the fuel injector. If I can manage to pull it without pulling the plenum, I think I'm going to try to swap it with an OS that I have, just to see if maybe the injector is bad itself, and that will kind of tell me a little bit. We just switched in one of our replacement fuel injectors, and it's made a world of difference. Smooth, rev smooth, no miss, no chop, nothing. That's incredibly irritating for me, and another thing for me to not like Z1 Motorsports about. Why are you selling fake Nismo 740cc's, guys? Honestly, why are you selling them and advertising them as real Nismo injectors? It's sad. Now we're talking. Now our ECU, get our bash bar, which I believe is back here. If not, it's in the barn. Put our front bash bar on, bumper, all that. Figure out which bumper we're going to run. We'll take this thing for a cruise. Running 9.9 pounds of vacuum, so I think we're running good now. Well, it almost didn't fit. I assume we've got some front end damage here, but well, drift car. I'm actually going to remove these fog light brackets because I think I will get ducts to go for the intercoolers, but we're just going to do it so we will have extra flow to our intercoolers. Well, I've got my little passenger princess about to go take a quick little spin around town, and just hope we don't run out of gas is more or less all I'm hoping for. Because don't know if the gas gauge reads correct yet, but I guess we're about to find out. Oh well, it won't be too big of a deal to have someone pick me up and go get gas later on. So we've made it around the block, kind of around the whole town. Temperatures stay good. We're maxed at 176. Oil pressure staying up pretty good with our different oil, which is honestly great. That's another 10 psi over what we usually would have been running. However, we came in contact with our first issue. No, it's not the high gauge because the gauge is wrong. My front brake, at least my driver's side, appears to be locked up. This is me letting the clutch out to go. I can't even go now, so I'll def say that this piston or the pistons in the caliper are seized up and they're stuck. Yeah, whenever I spit on the actual rotor, I know spit's probably not a preferred, but it literally bounces off. It won't even stay on to sizzle, or it literally just bounces off onto the center of the hub. Not to mention I can really smell it, the brakes. Good morning, just kidding, good afternoon. So I think what we've decided here, at least our first plan of attack for our no brake issue, is if you look, if you can see very well, the push rod is flush with the adjuster, or the fork I should say. I went and checked a couple other boosters that I got. None of them are like that. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to readjust that. First we're going to crack it loose, we're going to pull the pin out, and then we're going to spin it in about a 1/2 inch or so and see if that gives us a little bit of pedal flow. So far, like, it's stiff already, like it's pushed down because it's pushed out so far. Not installed our cotter pin yet, but we have a little bit of play here. We're going to check our 4-seater, see about what our pedal adjustment is there. I'd have to say the actual adjustment itself is pretty similar. I just want to test the throw. See, pretty close. I think I put a little too much on this, but we'll tighten it up, or at least we'll check to see how the car feels, and then we'll tighten it from there. Now that our pedal is similar, this one has a lot more. We're going to switch out a couple of these turn signal relays, so hopefully we can get our turn signals working so we're roadworthy. So we just went and took the relay out of that Black Sea. Now we know it's something to do with our turn signal stalk or switch itself. I'm going to check the front fuse box. Fuse is good down here in the kick panel, so I think we might just have to switch that stalk out. So we're doing a little bit of diagnosing here. So far, we're not getting very far. I have verified that 2 of the pins have continuity, as you can hear here. That's the second pin to the hazard relay. We are now working. Someone just ran over here like she was missing something. So we're going to test our 3rd wire. We tested the green and red wire from the hazard switch to the relay, or the flasher unit. We've traced the light green and blue striped wire to our switch. What we're going to do is we're going to go grab another signal stock off our Black Sea, and maybe that will help. Neither one of these passed the test. Alright, so can't figure out the turn signal thing. Even still, absolutely nothing. Still got blinkers. Don't have my button on because, you know, that's always broken. We're not going to worry about that. Car's warmed up pretty good. I'm hoping our brakes are fixed. I'm not going to go too far just in case that is an issue, because I don't want to be stuck in another town. I do need to go get gas soon, so who knows, we may, if everything works good on the lap, we may try to venture and do that. Our brakes have worked good. If I remember correctly, last time I could tell like there was a noticeable difference once I depressed the brake and tried to hit it again. That time it was soft. Both times we let up and re-engaged. Gas yet. We're still at the house. We had an issue when we stopped at the park to get that little clip, that the car almost didn't want to start back up. It didn't want to hold idle, like it was choking out almost. Kind of weird. Let's get her first E-fill up in my possession. So far we've had no issues with it since we've readjusted the pedal, except I think I may have ruined my front rotors because they're warped now. If they weren't before, they definitely are now. It's not horrible, but they do shake. Gas gauge does work, so that's a plus, even though the odometer does not work and we can't really tell how far we've went or anything like that. We can at least know that our gas gauge somewhat works. We were just a little bit below the quarter tank mark, and we put about 10.8 gallons in, so looks good. Usually on E, you've got like 3 to 5 gallons left. Just depends. So everyone's fuel float's a little bit different, especially if it's been taken out before. But we're just gonna keep cruising around, see if anything happens. I've noticed when I start it back up after it's been shut off for a minute, it is like it hesitates slightly when I press on the throttle. I'm thinking this may have something to do with unsynced throttle bodies, or at least something along them lines. Well, we're encountering our first problem. After a little bit of driving, when I go to shift, especially if I take off in first gear, like the car's not having it. Like it's like the clutch quits working. If it dies, I have to crank it over and start it with my foot on the floor, and it still takes off. I have no idea, but I'm just trying to limp it home because the pedal is acting mighty weird, and I would rather just sort out that hydraulic system at home instead of having to worry about getting home. Not sure how well you can see it. We've got nice, like 8 inches pedal play, so it's safe to say our clutch system is no longer holding pressure and we're leaking somewhere. If I had to guess, it's probably the slave. Well, I will have to say that will definitely make your clutch not work. So far everything's still reading good, so I've got high hopes of the car actually being good itself. However, our clutch system is not doing the best, and we need to check out our idle air control and TPS stuff. I was really wanting to try to do a clutch dump or a burnout this video because that's honestly been my goal like the past, I don't know, I feel like 30 videos. Like I just want to do a freaking burnout. Like I don't know why. Maybe because I've done one in an automatic, not in a manual. I've done clutch dumps, but I've never sat there and burned any rubber, so it's something I want to learn to do. And that's honestly the ultimate shakedown if my car is going to blow up when I take it to the track. So that being said, I think that's going to be the end of this video, guys. Reason being, I think we pretty much squared everything away, minus our turn signals, and now we've got a clutch system to mess with. But on the good side, now when we get that all set up, we can start, you know, doing some more fun things with the car that we have wanted to do. So if you guys liked the video, don't forget to drop a like, comment, subscribe down below, and stay tuned for our next video. We'll catch you then. Peace.